Advance and be recognized, everyone, and welcome to the Sitrep podcast, your forward operations space for all things military and historical wargaming. I am your host, Oriskany Jim, and today we're taking a look at a very special World War II 80th anniversary. I'm talking about 19th of February 1945, the opening day in the battle for Iwo Jima. Iwo Jima is a tiny volcanic island in the North Pacific, and late in World War II saw an apocalyptic battle fought between the United States Marine Corps, supported by select units of the United States Army, and the Imperial Japanese Army, supported by some very large units of Japanese naval troops. To say that Iwo Jima holds a place of legend in the annals of the U.S. Marine Corps would be a titanic understatement. It's by far the costliest campaign in the history of the Corps. The opening day is the bloodiest single day in the history of the Corps. Nearly 30% of all medals of honor won by the Corps in all of World War II would come right here on this one island. Fleet Admiral Chester Nimitz would say that among the Marines on Iwo Jima, uncommon valor was a common virtue. And Secretary of the Navy James Forrestal, who was actually on Iwo Jima at the time, when he saw that flag go up on Mount Suribachi, he said raising that flag would guarantee the existence of a U.S. Marine Corps for the next 500 years. For many Marines and former Marines, Iwo Jima is our Mecca, our Bethlehem, a place of reverent and almost religious significance. And so it is also with the Japanese, who operate a small naval air station on Iwo to this day. Untold thousands of their people are still entombed on this island in hundreds of collapsed bunkers, caves, and tunnels, and the Japanese government ensures that those who visit this island tread lightly. Over 20,000 Japanese fought incredibly hard and died very bravely, fighting a battle against odds that were literally hopeless. And yes, they still remember. The system we're using today is a heavily modified variant of Avalon Hill's Panzer Leader. To encompass the sheer scale of the landings, 2 full Marine divisions, the first big change I made was to click up the unit scale of the game. Now, normally in Panzer Leader, a counter represents a platoon, battery, or section. In today's game, it's going to represent either an entire company or perhaps even an artillery battalion. You'll also see where all the units I created for this game are serialized, so that every regiment, battalion, and even company is staged in its exact historical initial landing location. Keep a special eye out for E Company, 2nd Battalion, 28th Marines, 5th Marine Division. These are the guys that are going to raise those famous flags on Mount Suribachi later in the campaign. Japanese deployments are a little more approximate. Gotta remember, these guys were very well hidden and so few of them survived. Nevertheless, I leveraged what records I could to ensure that their units are also handled with similar care. There are a lot of special rules here. Now, I won't go through them all, but here are some of the highlights. The entire island, nearly every single playable hex on the board, is considered a Japanese improved position. We're using the Arab-Israeli War rules for fieldworks. There are also 16 fortification markers on the table, and again, we're only representing the southern quarter of the island. Yes, we do have rules for movement through Japanese tunnels and hidden underground bunkers. This entire island, folks, was an absolute anthill of concrete, stone, and steel with over 8 miles of tunnels, according to some historians, up to 11 miles of tunnels. Some historians have said that while the Marines were fighting a battle on Iwo Jima, the Japanese were fighting a battle in Iwo Jima. The rest of the rules and background we'll cover as the video progresses. For now, suffice it to say that the Marines have landed, and by and large, the Japanese have let them land and fill up those landing beaches before opening fire. So yeah, this isn't exactly going to look like Omaha Beach. This means that the Japanese will actually be going first in our game. My friend Dylan is playing the Japanese, allowing me to take the Marines ashore. So how about we head over to the footage and we see how our 80th anniversary recreation of Bloody Iwo turns out. Okay, here we are with our map setup. Today I am joined by my friend Dylan. Mr. Dylan, how are you doing?
Hey Jim, I'm doing really well.
You are for the moment, until I start calling in 4 battleships worth of artillery gunfire support on you. So, my friend Dylan is playing the Japanese. He's going to beat up on me plenty as the Marine player. So, Dylan, looking at the map so far, any comments from you as far as this game we're about to play?
I'm liking the improved positions. I like that the artillery on Mount Suribachi is probably going to be raining down. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, Suribachi is going to be a major pain in my left wing for sure, and my right wing, perhaps even worse, is going to be this rock quarry. Meanwhile, of course, I have to push onto the beach and take at least 3 of these objective hexes, even to force a draw. I need to take 4 of them to win. Other than that, most of our units are set up in approximate historical positions. As you all know, by and large, the Marines were allowed historically to land more or less unmolested.
Any theories why they ain't shooting? It's getting on my nerves.
The first wave is ashore. That's going to be leading edge of 5th Marine Division and 4th Marine Division. Generally speaking, we have 28th Marines, 27th Marines, then we have 23rd Marines and 25th Marines. 26th Marines is ready to come in to support the rest of the 5th Marine Division, along with 24th Marine Regiment here to back up the rest of the 4th Marine Division. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. The Marines have already landed. This game begins, believe it or not, the Japanese go first, because they're the ones that initiated the battle when General Kuribayashi gave the order to open fire, as we're about to see. Okay, we are now in turn 1, and the order has been given, open fire. The first thing that Dylan is going to shoot. Dylan, what are you hitting me with first?
I'm going to hit you with the 320mm rocket. And I'm going for the...
Yeah, that's no big surprise there. These were some of the biggest Japanese guns on the island. Again, this is their approximate location. So they have 24 points. It's H in parentheses, so it affects everything in the hex. He does not have line of sight, but we're in the indirect fire phase. These guys are clearly spotted. 24 versus 8 is 3-to-1 odds. Go ahead and roll for your first attack at your convenience.
A 6.
A 6. He is dispersed. Keep rolling those 6s, please. So go ahead and roll for your second one.
A 1.
That's a kill. Alright, first blood. First Marines have died. Lima Company, 3rd Battalion, 25th Marines. Sadly accurate. Now, the other target in the hex is armored, so your 24 divides to 12, but it is attacking only versus 2.
Cool. A 6.
A 6 stays at a 6. Yeah, he's destroyed no matter what. In fact, you don't even have to roll that. Okay, so that is a destroyed armored unit in there. Those Amtraks do count as armored units, and that is a destroyed soft target in there. So, yeah, that is that hex sorted out. I think you said you're going to call in some mortar fire further down the line?
Yes, mortar fire on the second half of the battalion to the left of the original target there.
Alright, so we've got some 81mm here to call in. 18 points, they're in range for some 150mm howitzers. 12 points, so that's 30 so far. 33, that gets you to 4-to-1 so far.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, cool. By the way, these 2 hexes are now spotted.
Okay, first one, a 4.
That does kill, barely. Okay, Weapons Company actually moves up to 5-to-1.
Oh, okay. A 6.
He actually survives. He managed to dig a hole in that volcanic ash after all. Don't ask me how. 8-to-1 odds. Yeah, you don't even have to roll a dice, because even if you roll a 6, he is going to be smoked. These Amtraks died in huge numbers. Thankfully, that one was empty. So, yeah, there's the bulk of 3rd Battalion, 25th Marines, removed from the table. Sadly, this is about what happened historically. They went in on the morning with 900 men, and by the end of day 1, they were down to 120 combat effectives. So, the battalion, for game purposes, was basically wiped out right as it landed. And as we see, so far it's more or less happened on our table. Okay, as predicted, Dylan has pretty much executed 3rd Battalion, 25th Marines, and now he's continuing with some more direct fire in this sector. So, we're talking about these LVTA-4s. These are the actual amphibious tanks, but with a defense of 2. I mean, come on. Meanwhile, you're point blank with a battery of 47mm anti-tank guns, clearly 1 hex away. So your attack strength against an armored target with an armor-piercing weapon goes up to a 12. That's 6-to-1 odds. You can roll a dice if it makes you feel better, Dylan, but even if you roll a 6, that unit is destroyed.
I rolled a 1.
So you wasted 1. That is the end of him. Okay, now we're on the other flank where 27th Marines on Red 1 Beach actually got hella lucky and survived all kinds of Japanese mortar fire. That was a lot of sixes you rolled there, Dylan.
Gotta be nice to you sometimes, Jim.
I'm going to need a lot of charity by the time this game is over. So we're going to start off with some 70 and 75 millimeter field guns. They are within half of their effective range, so they double. So that's going to be worth 10. These guys are also firing from inside this Mount Suribachi bunker. Against 8, that's not quite 4 to 1, so what Dylan's going to do is he's going to throw in these 25 millimeter autocannon to just nudge him to 36, get him onto the 4 to 1 column.
Here we go. A 6.
Another 6. They are really pinned down. Wow, this is kind of awesome, I'm not going to lie. And yeah, 1, 2, 3 positions are now spotted. Cool. Alright guys, we're coming near the end of Japanese fire phase because, believe it or not, a lot of Japanese units can't actually see me yet. I'm still behind that 15-foot swell that was, just inland of the actual shoreline. But I promise you, once the Marines come over that edge and now they're on this absolute pool table of a battlefield, man, the Japanese are just staring down the Marines' throats and they see everything. Okay, we've now reached the end of Japanese turn 1. I actually came through it not bad. Oh, I won't say that about 3rd Battalion, 25th Marines over here, but other than that, things came out kind of okay. Ominously, he's choosing to be careful about what he revealed. So again, everything is considered hidden until it fires at me. So now we head over to American Turn 1, which begins with the indirect fire phase, which in turn starts off with, every turn, 80 points of offshore naval gunfire support. So for now, I'm going to drop all 80 points on this guy right here, because, yeah, I'm sick of him. Actually, I take that back. I'm going to be a little coy today, because he needs a turn to reload. By the time he reloads, I'm going to get another naval gunfire round on him. I'm going to drop it on these guys. Now, why am I dropping so much on there? Again, this guy is in a fort. And for people in the audience, we are using Arab-Israeli Wars, fortification and improved position rules. Everything in that hex automatically adds 10 to its defense, plus I have to add 2 to my die roll. Here we go. It affects everything in the hex. I've got 80 points versus 12. I believe that is a sloppy 6 to 1. I'm going to get out my special Marine Corps dice. Here we go. 6 to 1 odds. I have to add 2 to my die roll. So first on the 18-point mortars, of course I roll a 6. Then on the 12-point mortars, I roll a 4. Okay, he's killed. He is killed and he is dispersed. So yeah, I'm going to call in some of my airstrikes. Let's see here. I only have to cause a double dispersal, so I'm now adding 1 to my die roll, not 2 net, because you have to subtract 1 from being dispersed. 60 points versus 12 is 5 to 1. Add 1 to the die roll, and a double D will kill him, because he's now dispersed, and it's a separate phase. My only problem is there is air defense in the area. So if you want to reveal that position, he can fire at my Corsairs if he chooses. That's up to you, Dylan.
He will do that, yes.
Okay, he is 6 points. We are using the air defense table out of original Panzer Leader. So with 6 points, you have to roll a 1 to chase away that Corsair before he makes his attack.
5.
Alright, 5. He's now revealed and the Corsairs come in. 5 to 1 odds. 5 to 1 odds. I'm net adding 1 to the die roll. Even if I roll 6, it modifies to a 7. Double D, that is the end of that howitzer battery. Okay, we're now deeper into Marine Turn 1. I've come in with some of my Corsairs. Dylan, what happened here on Mount Suribachi?
Jim rolled a 6
Yeah.
on Mount Suribachi.
So I hit him at 7 to 1 odds. I could roll anything but a 6. So my 6 became an 8, so he technically survives. I've suppressed him for now, but he's still there, I'm sorry to say. And that was like half of my airstrike power. Then I took out a small mortar position. Some of his anti-aircraft revealed itself, but couldn't really do anything against the Corsairs. And just to show a little bit of Marine direct fire, this is 2nd Armored Amphibious Battalion, I should say Able Company. I'm surprised he's still there, to be honest. So I'm going to go ahead and take one shot for him before Dylan deletes him from existence. 6 attack factors versus 2. That sounds promising, 3-1. But again, every single hex on Iwo Jima is considered a Japanese improved position. I have to add 2 to my die roll. So come on, do it. I did disperse them. So I'm suppressing some of these Japanese positions, but I'm not digging any of them out yet. So let's go ahead and get started with Marine movement. Now again, some of the special rules are to get up that 15-foot bluff that was immediately behind the beach requires a Marine infantry unit to spend 2 movement points. So that's going to be 2, and now this guy is going to go here. Alright, so is there going to be any opportunity fire out of any of your hexes to contest this move?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Mortars can fire direct if they have direct line of sight on the target hex.
That mortar and everybody else who can in that hex will fire.
Okay, so this mortar section here, who is now spotted. Dun, 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 dun. I love these little spotted counters. And of course, these guys are spotted now.
Yeah. Let's go Baker Company.
Okay, Baker Company, 1st of the 25th, takes incoming fire. 1-to-1 odds, no modifiers.
A 5.
No effect! Man, this is actually kind of cool. Alright, so we are going to go ahead and launch our assault. We're going to do this a little bit out of order, folks, just to kind of make the video editing a little easier. 10 points in this hex, 9 points in that hex, makes 19 total. 19 total versus, now this is a fortification, so I have to add 10 to that. And then you've got 6, and then you've got 3. That's a nice even 1-to-1. It's 19 to 19. So it is 1-to-1. I have no engineers in there. Marines in this game get -3 to their CRM on close assaults because every Marine platoon, much less company, had at least some flamethrowers. So we are going to be adding 2 for your fort, subtracting 3 for my close assault with flamethrowers, makes a total of 1-to-1, subtract 1 from the die roll. Come on, Chesty Polar, do it for me! So that is 2 becomes a 1, that is both of those units destroyed. Yeah, here's the bad news, I don't get to occupy that fort now because close assaults do end the turn. Yeah, spoiler alert, we might have some Japanese coming out of some tunnels there. We're going to find that the Marines often have to take these positions multiple times. Because, again, Dylan, he does have Japanese troops in tunnels and underground bunkers. These guys get to pop up pretty much wherever he wants during his support phase, during his reserve phase. But it's very possible he's going to pop up at least one of these rifle platoons in that fortification hex and make me assault it again. How about you, Dylan? Any comments so far on the game, on its mechanics?
The amount of indirect fire that the Japanese has is pretty cool. And I'm looking forward to surprising Jim with a lot of annoying units to reoccupy forts and things. Yeah, the game will really get going once he comes over the top of that lip, and as he said, it's a pool table battlefield, so it'll be a good direct fire phase next turn.
So I'm going to go ahead and finish up Marine movement phase and see where we stand. Okay, we've had another successful Marine assault, I'm happy to say. I rolled a 1, which became a 0. Hey, I'm not going to complain. But here, again, some of my Amtraks are now coming off the beach. This guy's already failed. Let me make sure I don't try to move him again. This guy had succeeded right into the teeth of some 47mm anti-tank guns. Alright, so your opportunity fire phase, Dylan. I'm sure you've got something coming at me.
Absolutely. That 70-75mm gun battery is going straight into Able Company there.
Okay, anything else? He doubles to 10 against 8. That's 1-to-1 so far?
Those 47mm are going to take out the Amtraks.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty easy, because that 6 doubles to 12 versus my 2. It's 6-to-1 odds. So, yeah, that is it for him. Get him off the table. I'll put a red counter in there in just a second. That is going to be him with opportunity fire and spotted. And then we've got this 10 versus 8. Is anyone else going to try to attack Able Company, 1st Battalion, 2 Marines?
I'll throw the infantry company in there, sitting on the AA guns.
You gotta keep me honest. That Amtrak has not made his roll yet. Sorry. The vehicles have to roll to get over that ledge. Infantry just have to pay double.
In that case, I'll throw in the mortars in 1108.
Cool. That's going to be his opportunity fire as well, so that's going to be, that's on direct fire, so he doubles. That's 6, 16, just these two.
Just those two.
Get 2-to-1 odds. Alright, go ahead and roll your 2-to-1 attack.
A 5.
There's a dispersal. These guys will move up. Alright, any more opportunity fire? Spoiler alert, we're going to try a combined close assault on this with battery position here.
Yeah, I will fire the mortars in 0911. They got range. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes.
4. Yep.
1111. What's the unit under that rifle company there?
That's more 47s.
More 47s. Okay, I'll leave those.
There were a lot of those on this beach.
All right, so I'll do the mortars with the infantry company in 1310. So that'll get me 1-to-1 with Baker Company there.
Got it.
As they come in. 3.
3 is dispersal. So a lot of these Marines have been pinned down, and that's really going to weaken the incoming cat attack. Again, cat attacks normally are at the end of the turn, but just to kind of keep things flowing for the video. Oh, actually, they're no longer able to cat attack. Weapons Company counts as sort of a machine gun section, and you're not allowed to cat attack unless you are stacked with intact rifle platoons. So that part shuts down. Which these guys are going in alone now, so it's going to be 5 points versus 2 points. 2-to-1, subtract 1. 3 becomes a 2, he's smoked. And we'll continue, guys, just sort of moving our way down the line here. I'm not going to lie, so far the Marines are doing pretty well in their close assaults. Let me stop saying that before I jinx myself. Try to get him over the ledge. Fails. Try to get him over the ledge. Fails. Try to get the last one over the ledge. They all fail. They're all stalled. That means that these tanks have to land. That costs 2 points to land. 2 points to land. 2 points to land. They still have 3 movement points left. So I'll roll for the first tank. He fails. He gets stuck in the sand. Next one. Another 6. Good grief. Last one. Hey! That costs him 2 movement points. And so he spent 2 to land, 2 to move up the hill. He's got 1 point left. I'll move him there, because I think he might have one of his reserve companies pop up in that hex, and I got a flamethrower waiting for him, mounted there on my Sherman Zippo.
Opportunity fire from 1310, if I'm seeing that right.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, you're in range. So 10 points, you're at extreme range. So yeah, 10 to 9 is actually at more than half range you have. So it's 1 to 2 odds.
Okay. 1 to 2. I'll take the shot anyway.
Okay. Hey, pin him down.
A 1.
You pinned him down.
Cool.
If it had been 1 to 1, you would have smoked him. Yeah, we're using the Arab Israeli Wars weapons effective discharge people, so you have to be within 2 hexes for an A-class unit to double against armored targets. More than half range, it divides in half. Okay, we're down into 5th Marine Division sector now, coming off of Red 1 and Red 2. So now we have these 3 remaining companies. So 14 versus 9, it's still 1 to 1. Again, add 2 for everything's in improved position, subtract 3 for Marines with flamethrowers. So it is 1 to 1, subtract 1 from the die roll. A 4 becomes a 3 on 1 to 1. They are only pinned down. So hey, 1 Marine assault actually failed. Ironically, the one that wasn't in a fortress. What do you know? Okay, wrapping up Marine movement on turn 1. I'm trying to get some of these guys over the lip. Are they going to succeed in this? This is a pretty tough fortification. Probably not, but they've got to clear the beach because more guys are waiting to come in. I think you said you're going to take out this Amtrak first?
Absolutely. Yep.
With
47mm battery.
Alright, cool. He is point blank. He's 1 hex away, so he doubles. 12 to 2 becomes 6 to 1 with no modifiers. He is automatically insta-killed. That is it for him. I'm going to see if I can rally this guy real fast, because we're kind of in at the end of Marine direct fire. 1, he does rally, but that's his turn, so he's kind of stuck there. And the reason I say all that is because as the second wave starts to come in, see it says C2 there, they can carry 2 units. So this hex already has 2 points in there. If I try to move this guy in there and unload, I'm in stacking violation. He has to go to 914. Again, it costs 2 points to land. That's more than a quarter of his movement rate. So are there any more anti-tank guns that haven't fired yet.
There's some big anti-tank guns up on Mount Suribachi.
Alright, so yeah, 10 to 2 is 5 to 1 odds. Yes, they are still loaded. No, I do not yet have the opportunity because it's 2 points to land on the sand, half the movement to unload them per normal Panzer Leader rules. This is not going to be pretty. Alright, 5 to 1. I wouldn't mind it if you rolled a 6.
Here we go. A 3.
Hey, that is him smoked, and he was still carrying 2 units. Yikes. That's it for him. Cool, so he is smoked, and he took his 2 passenger units with him.
One of the good things about destroying them on the beach too is that those wreck markers go down, which means that as the waves come in, Jim's going to have a harder and harder time. And especially since the Amtraks are getting wrecked just off the beach too, it's going to bottle up his advance a little bit, which is what I'm hoping for.
So these guys land, and they will spend the second half of their movement to unload. So those guys are okay. And again, just for fun, I'm going to kill Fox Company and bring Easy Company back on there. Just so the flag bearers live long enough to raise the flag. Of course, that won't happen in this game. That doesn't happen until day 4 of the battle, and that's way down here. But,
Is there opportunity fire from 0517?
Oh my god, there's another unit. No! 1, 2, 3, 4, out of range. Whew.
Out of range.
Oh my god, give me a heart attack there. Alrighty. Meanwhile, tank, land. What are you doing? That took 2 points. Now he's going to try to crest that shelf. He succeeds. That's 2 more points. Boom. That's 2 points. He's got 1 point left. Yeah, I want some flamethrowers going into these bunkers. Land, 2 points. Please get up there. 4. He fails. He's going to be stuck on the sand. Here we go with 1 more. Come on, give it to me. 4. Hell no. Alright, so he made it. These 2 tank companies didn't. Yeah, this is where the Marine assault starts to break down, because now there's just 1 tank company up there to put flamethrowers into that bunker when, oh sweet lord, would that have been nice. You got 45 Sherman, 6 of them, there's like 2 per company, so you got 6 flamethrower tanks just pouring napalm into that bunker, but at least for now, it is not to be. Okay, Mr. Dylan, any more thoughts so far?
It's going good on the left, not so much on the right. I've got a fair bit of indirect fire that I didn't use, which I think I'm going to have to use now. Now that Jim's going to be distracted by my reloading rocket artillery for next turn, I'll be dumping the rest of my indirect fire.
Okay, we're now into Marine turn 2, where things are starting to get bloody. The good news, my battleship strikes, as predicted, took out some light mortars and those big 320mm ash can mortars up there on that ridge. Meanwhile, his heavier mortars have come into play, and Dylan, man, what have you done to me down here on Blue Beach?
Blue Beach doesn't exist anymore, Jim.
Blue Beach is empty. There's barely a Marine left on Blue Beach. It's just, yeah. Meanwhile, I'm using up the last of my air power, where, man, what happened here? Why is this Corsair sitting on a wreck counter? What happened with that?
Corsair came in, 2 AA units opened up on it and knocked out a Corsair squadron, I suppose, full of napalm, which I'm sure is going to be fun to deal with.
There's the first one, there's the second one. There was no way to be out of range of both of them and still target the hex I wanted to. Then he rolled a 1, so he actually smoked a Corsair, shot him clean out of the sky. He crashed on the beach, just a house rule for crashed aircraft because it's so awesome. We do put a wreck counter on there even though they're not technically armored targets. How about all that napalm is definitely going to cause a mess on that beach hex. No one wants to land there. How about we just put it that way? The good news is the remaining Corsair did drop his napalm, 20 points, did wipe out the rest of that. So, yeah, I might have a route to my first objective hex. Because God knows I've paid for it. We have Motoyama Airfield number 1 in sight. At least part of it. So, oof. Marine assaults continue. I've got my tanks up on the shelf here. I've taken out anti-tank guns here. I've got a 1-to-1 here. 1-to-1, subtract 1 from the die roll. This would be really nice. 2 becomes a 1 on the 1-to-1 table. I'm glad I turned on Mr. Recording. That fortification is smoked. Alrighty, this guy is pinned. Let me try to get him. 2, he does rally. I mean, we're technically supposed to do that before we do cat attacks, but it's a good way to get the units mixed up and include units in cat attacks that shouldn't. This guy's going to try and rally. He barely makes it. But that was his turn, so he will not move. Meanwhile, the other unit is going to 1, 2. That's it. 1 objective hex taken. I never did this machine gun airstrike, did I?
No, you set it up, but you never resolved it.
Alright, cool. So these guys have all expended their ordnance, guys, but they still have all their machine guns. We got a grand total of 18 points versus 3. 6-1, although again, everything's in improved position. I have to add 2 to the die roll. A 6, sure enough, that is 8. He is already dispersed. And they eventually run out of machine gun bullets. They're allowed 4 machine gun strikes after they expend their ordnance. Alright, now I'm going to try and get some of these tanks and Amtraks up on the ridge at the same time. Okay, so both Shermans made it. Very nice. Alright, now you're in trouble, boy. Although I may take some opportunity fire. I gotta be careful there. 1, 2. Alright, so what we're looking at here, folks, is this infantry unit shifted down here to clear a little bit of space for these 2 tank companies. Again, I can only put 2 tank companies in there because there is a rec counter in there. And it does count for stacking purposes. Meanwhile, this guy that was already in there fired his flamethrower and 75 into this bunker and managed to suppress the field guns. So I'm just wrapping up Marine movement phase. That counts as 2. I never did roll to see if these 3 Amtraks made it. Let me get 3 dice. And all 3 of them failed. They're all stuck. Oh my god. That was his 2 points. The one guy that was in there is going to move over. And then this guy. Alright, cool. Alright, now this assault goes in. This guy took opportunity fire already. This guy's suppressed. You have anti-tank guns point blank anyway. Alright, so these guys all spent at least a quarter of their movement in your range. Are you going to take double anti-tank fire?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, I didn't realize you had anti-tank. I did all that maneuvering to avoid your anti-tank fire, and there was one already in there. So it's going to be 12-9. That's going to be a 1-1. It doubles because you're a point blank range.
4.
4 is one of them dispersed. Does it matter which one?
No.
Alright, I'll just grab the easiest one. Alright, so now that stack has taken opportunity fire. Alright, cool. So, again, I got 19 total points against your 17, so 1-1. Subtract 1 from the die roll. Net. Marines, do it for Chesty! A 1 becomes a 0. That was beautiful. My Marines are just hungry for bronze stars and silver stars today. I'm getting slammed on artillery fire and your opportunity fire and even your AA fire shooting down my Corsairs. I still can't believe that happened. But I am not gonna lie, my assault rolls have been sweet. Alright, and then, okay, turn 2, we then start landing the second wave. Now, I'm not going to have the recording going because I'm not going to subject you guys to that, but long story short, take your first shot. These guys are all landing in Higgins boats, so notice there's no more Amtrak counters in here. There are some ducks towing artillery in here and so on, so I got to be careful for that. And what's going to happen here is I got to land as much of this stuff as I can and hopefully not take too much damage. Yeah, here I come with my second landing. And I got to be careful of stacking between units that are already there and rec counters. So it's going to get a little clogged up on some of these beaches. We're looking now at the rest of 3rd Battalion of 28th Regiment has now landed, along with the Assault Pioneers and the Engineers of 5th Marine Division. And I've still got units that haven't been able to land yet, including 2 battalions of artillery.
Yeah, as you said, we see there's basically this parking lots on the beach.
Parking lot and junkyard.
Yeah.
I can squeeze in one more weapons company there. Yeah, there we go. Okay, now everything is maximum saturation. They are
absolutely
packed in there,
out.
Standing room only. Which is not good news when the indirect artillery starts howling in.
Absolutely, I'm very, very keen for that, seeing as it's the next phase, basically. So, very keen to take out some of those engineers before they get up, because those guys are really going to chew through my bunkers and forts, the ones that I have left anyway.
That will wrap up Marine Turn 2 and all of Turn 2. So, okay, we're now at 11 a.m. on D-Day. Dylan, what do you think so far?
I think it's going pretty well. I've lost my big artillery, but that was always going to happen. Mount Suribachi is in good shape, ready to hose down that whole flank there.
Mount Suribachi is actually cherry right now that you've made those rally checks.
And those forts, which were empty, are now garrisoned. and maybe they'll be reinforced. We'll have to wait and see.
Alright, so we're going to get stuck into turn 3 and check back in with everybody later on. Wow. Okay, suffice it to say that so far, our 80th anniversary commemorative game for Iwo Jima has not disappointed. Marine casualties are appropriately horrific. The beaches are a tangled graveyard of twisted metal. My naval gunfire, and especially my air support, has been appropriately disappointing. I mean, okay, I maybe have cleared 1 or 2 Japanese bunkers, but spoiler alert, Dylan's about to use his reveal units phase to bring in some of the troops he has tucked away in Japanese tunnels to reoccupy and reactivate that bunker. I'm going to have to clear that position again. And again after that. But it's actually not all bad news. Some of the Japanese artillery on marine landing beaches has actually been kind of light, believe it or not. Number 1, Dylan threw some bad dice early on, and number 2, he held fire with some of his heavier guns early on in order to keep them concealed. I mean, I get it, but at the same time, I would have cut loose with everything because I know that American naval gunfire support can only target so many positions at once. It's gonna be many turns before I can get to them all. You might as well cut loose with everything you have and destroy as many Marines as possible on those landing beaches. Also, I've just been rolling really well on my Marine close assaults. It's been mostly 1s and 2s, while Japanese opportunity fire has been a lot of 4s, 5s, and 6s. I mean, okay, I'm using some basic fire and maneuver fundamentals, but there's no big genius on my part. I've just been getting really damn lucky. But that's where we're going to leave it for now, folks. Thanks very much for watching. Also, please come back next week to see how Part 2, the conclusion of this game, turns out. In the meantime, please like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this content. Please remember to hit that notification bell. Also, please consider joining the Sitrep Podcast Discord. There is an auto-accept invitation link to our Discord in the description of this video. Join our community, see what everybody's up to, and best of all, show us what's happening on your hobby table. But for now, this is Oriskany Jim with the Sitrep Podcast. We are rounds complete for another episode. And as always, Tango Mike for watching.